Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight is an encouraging one. It's called Forging Ahead, and that is because there are 4 dynamic planets in Aries, which does rule new beginnings. So if you've got something new on your mind, this is a very good time to really concentrate on it. It doesn't mean that you would be going ahead with something at this very moment, but you could be starting to plan it, or you could be directing your focus towards some new endeavor, and that is exactly the right thing to be doing, because next week we're going to be having a new moon in Aries, and there will be even more planets there than there are now. So what would your new start look like if you're thinking of one? First of all, it would be described by the nature of the 4 planets that are in Aries. So your new start may be ahead of its time. It might be involving certainly your future and not your past. And it can also be something that you do already have some experience doing, or that you are better prepared for than people think. It's just that since it would be an idea that's ahead of its time, not everyone would understand what you're talking about, and you'll have to sort of live with that. And that is because the planet Uranus is in the sign of Aries, and it does rule the future and things ahead of their time, but it also rules genius. So if you've got some genius idea, not everyone is going to catch on to it right away. And so you have to be very, very careful on how you present something right now. What else would your good idea look like? Well, it certainly would be a labor of love. It would be something that you would love to do, or that you've been doing for a long time. It could perhaps be a hobby that you are wanting to turn into a real endeavor or project or business right now. But the reason why it would be a labor of love is because there are 2 love planets, and they're both in the sign of Aries. Uranus rules platonic or soul-satisfying love. That's your idea that's ahead of its time. But Venus rules touching love, a kind of love that involves partnership and collaboration. And so your new idea certainly could be a labor of love, but perhaps you would want other people to join you in that as well. What else would it look like? It would be an idea that you could see completely and thoroughly. And the reason why is because it is the sun is in Aries, and the sun rules the giver of life. It rules Leo. And so you could be seeing the whole picture. In other words, from start to middle to finish. And you could be seeing that your good idea can require leadership and teamwork. That's what Leo and the sun stand for. So you can see the whole thing in its entirety, and you can see the end result or the goal that you've got in mind and exactly how to accomplish it. So you would have good vision about a new start right now. What else can be involved? Well, that can be characterized by the 4th planet that is in Aries, Mars. And since Mars rules Aries, your new idea could be filled with a lot of hard work, and that means you'd have to be willing to be very determined and to persevere and to overcome all obstacles, or at least attack your problems. After all, Mars does rule war, so that you can overcome them and succeed. But you can do that. And that is why this is the time to forge ahead, because you could have love on your mind, or you could have passion on your mind, or you could have some sort of new endeavor or new relationship that has a future to it. And that's what you should be concentrating on, and it could be ahead of its time. There could be some little thing that could come and stop it, though, and that is because Pluto is in Capricorn, representing management or people in high places that make the rules and make policies. And because Pluto and Mars are squaring each other, somebody could not catch on to your unique, wonderful new idea, and they could refuse to fund it, or they could cut any funding that could be available. So you have to watch out for that. The one thing they can't do, though, is they can't stop it. And that's important. So it's very important that you attack any obstacles so that you can overcome them and succeed, because after all, with a quick burst of energy, you could get a lot of loving support. And why is that? Because there are more things going for a new start than against it. And the reason why is that those 4 planets in Aries are being beautifully supported by surrounding planets. There's only 10 planets up there. Jupiter in Gemini is sextile the 4 planets in Aries, and right behind Aries there are 2 planets in Pisces, Mercury and Neptune, and they're both direct, so there's a lot of additional sympathy and support for a new start that you may have in mind, and that is behind the scenes. Also today, the moon is in Aquarius, and that too is sextiling those planets in Aries. So there are actually 8 planets involved in some sort of endeavor that you could have on your mind that involves forging ahead. And that means there's more going for you than against you. And that's why I urge you to give something new a try. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think you're definitely going to be forging ahead. And the reason why, Aries, is I don't think there's anything stopping you. Yes, somebody could slow you down because Pluto is squaring the 4 planets in your sign, and that simply means someone could say no or cut the funding or simply not get the idea that you're trying to present, so you might have to go back again and again to try to sell them on that. But you could get other people to help you right now, Aries, and I really don't think there's anything stopping you. So if you were ever wondering when to start something new, now is the time. So forge ahead, Aries, because there will be a new moon in your sign that we'll talk about on next week's show, and that will give you enough light to go ahead and see all obstacles, and you really will have a sort of a clear path for something new. And it would be a shame if you didn't get on that path and go, Aries. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is simply a time when you can be very involved with something in the background of your life, and the reason why is that all 4 planets in Aries are right behind your sun sign. So yes, there's a lot of activity in the background of your life, and it involves either you making a new start that you're quietly working on, or else someone else is going to be doing that and you can be involved with them as well. So I think you're very busy, Taurus. It might not show in your regular daily life, but I think that since everyone can be concerned with some sort of change that they are anticipating in the future, I think that you are too, and you can be wondering if you can afford it all. If it's a change that you want to make, you could be a little slow to make a commitment, and that is because Saturn in Scorpio is opposing your sun sign, and you could be feeling a little bit cautious about having enough money to go ahead, or you can be wondering how much debt would be accrued, and that could bother you, or maybe the taxes could be high on something right now. However, behind the scenes, it's a go, either for you or somebody else, Taurus. And when that new moon comes into Aries next week, there will be an awful lot of light in the background of your life, so everyone is going to be able to see what you're involved with. And that's why I think you really do need to think about forging ahead, Taurus. Even if you're not ready to announce it yet, I think you should continue to work on that. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time when I think you benefit from someone else forging ahead. And that is because, as I explained, there's more going for a new idea right now than against it. And the reason why is that Jupiter in your sun sign, Gemini, is sextile all 4 planets in Aries. And also, the moon today in Aquarius is trining your Jupiter as well, meaning that there can be a sympathetic person around, perhaps a woman, who is thinking of the future as well, and they can be certainly supportive of your ideas. But because your Jupiter in your sign is sextiling the planets in Aries, I think that instead you can take advantage of somebody else's plan to forge ahead, and you may sort of piggyback on that or join them or collaborate with them in one way or another. And somebody who is thinking of the future could support you and them, and that would be very nice. So I think your world opens up for you now, Gemini, and you really should step forward, even if it's on something temporary. Who knows where that would lead, Gemini? And since Jupiter's in your sign, I don't see why you should say no. You should just jump right in and say yes. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is certainly a time when I think that you can be ruffled, or you can be thrown off in one way or another by somebody who wants to forge ahead right now, because they're going to do it. They can do it because they are concentrating on their future, not on yours, Cancer. And that is because there are 4 planets in Aries now. The Sun and Venus and Uranus, those are the 2 love planets, and Mars are all in Aries, and they are all squaring your Sun, Cancer. And so I think that's a little bit too much for you to deal with objectively, Cancer. And so your feelings might get hurt if somebody decides to forge ahead without you. I think they're going to do it with or without you. And I think the thing that can be bothering you is that they may decide that they are more interested in their future than in yours. And so you might get left behind, Cancer. You still have good financial and emotional support because Saturn in Scorpio is trining your Sun, and so are Mercury and Neptune in Pisces. So it isn't that you're losing any friends, Cancer. It's simply that this is a time to sort of dynamically go forward. And that may not be your nature anyway right now. Maybe instead you'd like to settle down. And you are coming into a year when you can do that very successfully. So something might pass you by right now, Cancer. And I think that you should just try to understand that some people are in a big hurry right now, and I don't think you are. And so I think that something is simply going to go ahead and succeed despite any obstacles, and that it may involve some sort of separation at this time, but I don't think that it'll hurt you in the end at all. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is certainly a time when either you're forging ahead or someone else is, and you are going to zoom and join them, Leo, and that would be the right thing to do. Remember, your Sun is in Aries. The Sun is in Aries, and that is your ruler, and it is involved with Uranus and Venus, the 2 love planets, and Mars as well. So there is something that you're looking at right now, or that will certainly be coming your way almost immediately, Leo, and you really should consider it. In fact, I advise you to sort of jump right in with both feet and get going on it, Leo. And the reason why is that there is a new moon coming up in Aries. So the moon will be in Aries along with those other planets, and they'll all be trining your Sun, Leo. So there is a new opportunity for leadership. Who knows where it will end or which way it's going to go. Remember, it can be something that involves an idea that's ahead of its time, but it can also involve a labor of love and people who do know what they're doing. So because there is a lot of support for that right now, I think you should jump on the bandwagon, Leo. I don't know if you're going to be the head of it or if you're going to be involved with someone else who is the head of it, but this is a chance for you to make some sort of new start, Leo, and I really advise you to do it. The timing is perfect to forge ahead. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, you might be thinking of forging ahead also, but I think you're being real quiet about it, Virgo. And the reason why is because there's a lot of emphasis in the stellium of planets that are in Aries. So there's quite a bit of emphasis in a fire sign. And yours is a practical, down-to-earth, steady earth sign, even though it's a mutable sign, and your ruler is Mercury. Mercury is in Pisces, opposing your sun sign right now. And so that simply means that I think if you are thinking of forging ahead, you're wanting to plan it very carefully right now, Virgo, and I don't think that you are saying anything to too many people. Maybe a few people behind the scenes know of what your future intentions are, but I don't think anybody in your everyday life necessarily knows about that. And the reason why is that you could be preparing for a new start right now, but but not ready to go ahead with it yet until you've got everything in place that you think you will need to go ahead and initiate a new beginning. So this is sort of your preparation time, and I think that you're being real quiet about it, and that's just fine, because this is actually a volatile period in society, and I don't think that you necessarily want to be involved in everyone else's endeavors or in the pressure that they face or the obstacles that they have to overcome. So I think this is a quiet time for you, but I don't think that you're just standing still, Virgo. I think that you are wanting to investigate information, ask a lot of questions, and get prepared for a new start, and that's enough for now. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you can be absolutely overcome with somebody that wants to break away and forge ahead. And I think that instead you would prefer to do things in sort of an even balanced way, and someone else isn't buying that at all. And so you've got to remember, Libra, that some new start has more going for it than against it. And yet, I think someone in your life is about to strike out on their own and initiate something new that could be ahead of its time, and they're doing it for themselves. They're not necessarily doing it for you, Libra. Somebody could be going on a trip, or they could be starting a new form of education, or they could simply be starting a new job, but they're doing it all on their own. And the reason why I'm pretty sure about that, Libra, is because the Sun, Venus, Uranus, and Mars in Aries are all opposing your Sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is squaring it. And so you've got a lot on your plate right now, Libra, and so it's very lucky for you that not only is Jupiter in Gemini, but the Moon is in Aquarius today, also trining your Sun. So these planets in the other air signs are fortifying you, Libra. And so while there can be some dissension or even quarreling, or there can be a difference of opinion with a few people right now, and it's not that you have a nature that likes to fight, but there could be a little of that going on in your life right now, Libra, and yet still, there are other people that are very supportive of you that you can talk to, and I think that there is a possibility that you can sort of go in a new direction yourself, but it could be a temporary one, or it could be a very easy one, not a big deal, sort of a small deal, but one that can make you very happy. And so I would consider that. In other words, if you wanted to lower your sights and still move ahead, I think that's perfectly possible, Libra, because you have other people that are interested in working with you, which is good. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when not everyone is going to be agreeing with your cautious nature. You could be worried about how to pay for something right now, or how someone else is going to pay for it, and that could make you hold back a little bit right now. And I think that's a good idea, Scorpio. The reason why is that the planets that are in Aries that indicate that this is a wonderful time to forge ahead are 150 degrees away from your sun sign or in conjunct. That urge to go ahead very, very quickly, or even to rebel, is not something that you are really interested in joining right now. And I think it's because Saturn is in your sun sign, making you security prone and cautious. And it can also be because Neptune and Mercury in Pisces are trining your sun, meaning that you can find out what's really behind it all from friends that no one knows you know, and they could be telling you the real truth about something which is a little different than what's being advertised. And that, armed with the truth, you may decide to sort of sit something out or wait and see. Wait and see where a new beginning is going to go, or how it's going to be funded. Wait and see how long the passion lasts. And if you can see that something is actually going to turn out all right, then you can jump in, Scorpio. But for right now, I would say summer is a better time for you to forge ahead. For right now, I think you should perhaps put something on hold or pause right now. You won't lose anything by that. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, just like Leo, I think you're going to be off and doing new things. And this is an excellent time to forge ahead for you, Sagittarius. The reason why is that all 4 planets in Aries are trining your sun. So somebody's going to give you a big lift, or they're going to even push you into something new right now, Sagittarius. And I think you'll absolutely love it because you'll be so busy. Next week's new moon in Aries is going to trine your sun as well. And so you're going to see an opportunity to make a new start or to forge ahead. And even if there are obstacles, and even if someone isn't willing to pay you everything that you want, I'd take the offer if I were you, Sagittarius, and go ahead anyway. Because rarely do we have so many planets in one sign indicating that this is a time for a new beginning. So since it is, I hope you follow up on it, Sagittarius. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when I think that you can be very torn, and that is because you want to be agreeable with others, of course. You don't have an axe to grind, but you're very practical as well, Capricorn. And you can be experiencing a lot of pressure right now from the 4 planets that are in Aries. After all, the Sun, Uranus, Venus, and Mars are all squaring your Sun where you have Pluto. So since yours is a very security-prone Earth sign, you can be wondering where the money is going to come from to pay for some new start that someone wants to take off and initiate. And I would say that you don't have the answer to that, Capricorn, because nobody knows where the money is going to come from, and that's because there isn't enough money to fund everything right now, and you are willing to accept that. So if you have to say no, or you have to back away a little bit from ambitious plans that other people have, I would say that is a good idea. In fact, it could be safety first for you right now, Capricorn, because other people can be all fired up, but you're not certain about how it's all going to end up, and you're sure not sure about who's going to be paying for it. And that's why, since you are security prone, I would be a little bit quiet right now, Capricorn. If you don't want to participate, then you are just going to either have to make a good excuse and back out of something, or else you're just going to have to say no right up front. But that might be a wise idea right now, Capricorn, because I think there is too much pressure on you right now, and so this is not a good time for you calmly to make a decision. That's why I would withdraw a little bit if I were you. You don't need to forge ahead, and if somebody else wants to, just let them, okay? All right, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a wonderful time for you because the moon is in your sign, and it's being trined beautifully by Jupiter in Gemini. And remember I said that a good idea, or an idea that's ahead of its time, that can be a labor of love and may face a lot of obstacles and not have enough funding, still has more going for it than against it. And you may see the wisdom in that, Aquarius, because the moon in your sign is sextile the planets in Aries, and Jupiter in Gemini is also sextile the planet in Aries. And so you can have people that want to join with you with your vision, and their help, a new beginning could get underway. So this is a good time to be supportive of others, or if you're wanting to make a new start, Aquarius, you're going to be rather surprised at how much help you get from it right now. There can be people that are sold on a new idea and that will be willing to help you, even if it's just in small ways. So this is really a time for you to advertise or branch out, because you're going to get some good feedback from that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, it's a little bit different for you. And once again, I think it boils down to the timing of things. This is not your time to jump in and forge ahead, Pisces. And the reason why, once again, is because the money's not really there yet. And that means that if you wanted to forge ahead and start something unique that's ahead of its time, who's going to pay for it, Pisces? I don't think anyone has the answer to that right now. And so I think what you need to do, since Saturn in Scorpio is trining your sun and offering you some stable support somewhere in your life, I think you should not risk that and just stay on the sidelines right now, Pisces, and wait until this summer when you would be getting more support. And that is because Jupiter will go into Cancer and trine your Sun, and Saturn will go direct. It's a little weaker in Scorpio because it's retrograde right now. So you can see a new beginning that either you or someone else wants to make. But I would say this is not the time for you to jump in, Pisces. And the reason why is that you could get stretched too thin. It's because nobody knows where a new idea is going to end up. And no one quite knows what all the costs will be. And no one knows when the revenue's coming in. So I don't think that you can completely afford whatever you want to do right now, Pisces. And that's why you should wait. You could be a supportive backup to someone else who's making a new start, but I would not jump in right now, Pisces, because I don't think you've really got all the money that you need in order to do it, and that's why you should wait. Okay, we're coming close to the end of our program, and I just want to emphasize that rarely could there be a better time for you to forge ahead with an idea that you've got that's sort of like a genius idea. It's ahead of its time. It's a labor of love. You do already have a lot of experience involved with it, and it can be something where you have a whole clear vision about how it can start, how it can proceed, and how it can end. In other words, you've got a good goal in sight. And if you are willing to commit yourself to attacking problems, and I mean really attacking them and working very, very hard to overcome them, then you will have some loving support and you can succeed. So just keep that in mind as we all have a chance now to forge ahead, or at least to start planning that right now. Okay, thanks a lot for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye. See you next week.